Going live now.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Welcome to Community Cuts. We're here at Salon Lehing at 732 Washington Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place. Brooklyn is in the house. We're going to be talking to people that's here today. We have an interesting conversation. I'm going to let them open that for you. Thank you, Brooklynites.
Thank you very much. And why don't we start by telling people who we are to the extent that we'd like to do that. Let people know who you are.
Hello, Community Cuts. My name is H. Brooklyn, New York.
Would you like to tell people who you are?
Sure. Community Cuts. My name is Daryl. Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn Night all the way.
And I'm Catherine. I am not Brooklyn all the way. I grew up in the Bronx.
Oh, the boogie down. Uh-oh.
And I was actually born in Alaska, so I'm just out in left field somewhere.
I love it. I always wanted to go.
My father was in the Air Force. It wasn't remarkable, but still, it was interesting.
I know that.
Travelers.
So today we were mostly having a conversation about the woes of the current wave of immigration and the kind of complications and problems and issues with crime, perhaps, as well as resentments and conflicts between people who were already here being homeless when they brought in a whole bunch more people to compete for whatever services might be accessible to our poor New Yorkers. Then, so it's creating real problems. So it's something to think about, to talk about. And one of the things I thought was really interesting is that we were talking about the welcome that New York State or New York City provides to people who are migrating into New York City. And forget, what do they call it? What kind of city is it? Where they just let everybody in?
It's no particular name, but
Yeah, there's a phrase, I forget what it is, but it's something about, because you don't actually have to prove that you have legal papers in New York City. You don't have to prove, anything. You could just show up and sign up, I guess, for that check or whatever it is you're going to get. So I think that there's a lot of problems and a lot of resentment, but I also worry that there isn't an over projection to people who are just innocent family people to some degree, just looking for a better life, and how many people are coming through as part of a crime syndicate, which is, I think, also what's happening. So let's just open it up and see what your thoughts are if we didn't talk
well,
it all
my
out.
question is, I'm all for sheltering by any means. This company is built on nationalities, but the flex of people that actually arrived here in New York City within the last year and a half, 2 years, is out of control. Actually, the numbers, the stat, it is ridiculous because when you talk about addition of 210,000 people added to the city of New York City, and these people have nowhere to live. Where's the cutoff point? Where do you start deterring or detouring these people to go elsewhere and have other cities to receive these individuals who are looking for shelter? Now we're at a point where the shelter system is over flooded. Probably 80,000 of these people are living on the streets because they refuse to live into the shelter system. They go into these locations that they may shift a bed and a cot, and a Foot Locker, 3 square meals, and that's okay. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Because now, this is, as we stated, it's like survival for these people. Where they're coming from is a whole lot worse. So this is heaven to them.
Mhm.
They have means of getting income. They can walk around here, collect the bottles, and put them in the machine, get money, get scrap metal, take to the yard, get money. They have other source resources of getting change prior to the increase in crime and robberies and whatnot that's taking place. When do we stop? Because it's 700 a week coming to New York till this day. They have not turned anybody away. And I live in an area where just 100 yards from my house, a warehouse, the house 4,000. The block behind it, a hotel they built, 750. So where do we and you brought the point up before. Why? What's the reason? How come we continue to allow these numbers to grow and there's no resources to the house these people? What's the catch?
Well, I'm very much someone you might consider a conspiracy theorist. I always looking at some kind of nefarious complication behind the scenes. But the first thing that comes to my mind, as much as the Democrats and many people in the North and the Northeast were dumping on Trump, isn't he the one that wanted to build the wall to keep people out?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to pay more attention to actual issues that are happening on a national scale, because this didn't start a problem in the inner cities. It started a problem on, I guess, the border states. And but there's more to it than just people escaping. We're dealing with what looks to me like some human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
It looks to me like there are crime cartels that, as a result of coming into this country, there's going to be a lot more availability of the implements of crime, which I guess are weapons, knives, guns. And we have people coming through who, what they know is that kind of street gang fighting. It's what they know from their own countries. So they're just coming here doing what they were doing back where they came from. So to me, in order for this to be happening, in order for our state systems to allow this to happen, in my book means that it's an intention to have that happen. And I think sometimes when we look back at history, we have to look at the way things worked and how immigration was used. Like in the United States, let's say there was a lot of immigrants, Chinese immigrants being brought in to build railroads, and then after they were done, they get disposed. I can remember back in the 70s and 80s, there were, right after the civil rights movement, and there began to be a push towards integration and equalizing, there was a big flux of immigration. So the immigration part of it was to replace slavery in the South, needed cheap labor. And the other part was to bring people into the North in order to be able to work in the factories and this and that. So I'm just saying that there's something behind this. It doesn't look like a good reason. It doesn't look like they're just bringing people into work. but maybe they're bringing people in to help destroy the culture that's here for whatever reason. Economics. So that's my rant. Your turn.
H,
We facing a major dilemma right now. You know, as my good friend Darren alluded to, you know, he works in the shelter system, okay? And you're seeing migrants coming in by the thousands daily. And my question and the problem I have with it is, what are we doing with our own homeless population? Okay? We're throwing them out of shelters, they're out on the streets. We got these homeless, we got these migrants coming in here, you know, through the government. They're getting cards, they're getting credit cards, they're getting money, they're getting debit cards. My main problem is what we doing for our own that's been here. It's just not fair. It's just, you know, and then on top of that, the crime is going up. As you can see, 42nd Street is just bananas right now. You got crime, you got rapes, you got robberies, you got assaults. This is happening on a daily basis, okay? And they still coming in. They building, you know, they taking all our hotels, properties in residential neighborhoods and turning them into a migrant shelter. You got kids in the neighborhoods, they turning shelters by the schools. You know, that's my main problem right there. You know, that's it's very dangerous. You got kids going to school. Some of these guys are coming from wherever they coming. I'm not gonna call out no countries and stuff like that. They got warrants, they rapists, you know, it's just horrible. It's horrible what's going on with the migrant situation right now. You know, I don't like it. None of us like it. You know, we were born and raised in the city, Brooklyn, New York, but it's just horrible right now. You know, and like my sister alluded to, like, when it's gonna stop? You know, is it planned? You know, what's the end result? So that's the problem I have with it.
And then you have some of these countries that are releasing criminals, releasing them from their jail cells,
Mm-hmm.
and pushing them out.
No,
And that's where we get them now. They're here because, you know, a lot of my employees, you know, are Latin descent, and they talk to these guys. And I could be standing there, I don't understand the language, but
Yeah.
some of the conversation is like, boy, if the cartel knew I was here, they'd come and kill everybody here. So I know what type of individuals I have in these shelters. We have no screening process. Okay? In our eyes, in the cities, everybody's not a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
40% of these people are criminals.
Yeah,
The numbers are high.
the numbers are way high.
When they first started migrating, did you not see these guys fighting the police in the train station?
Yeah.
They tried to take his gun.
Yeah, they jumped the cops.
And the sad part about that is they try to get ICE involved now because they weren't. So when these guys commit crimes, they arrest them and they release them.
Oh yeah, they out the next day.
So-
That day,
Now you put this individual back on the streets,
gonna commit more crime.
not deported,
No.
because you don't want to. How can I describe? You don't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
The same way they got it, you put these people back on the bus, they ship them back to where they take to the borderline.
Yeah.
And open the gate, tell them to walk through it.
Yeah.
Tag them, do what you have to do. But it's a revolving door right now.
Of course.
And I fear for my family, my mom and my wife,
Mhm.
because they used to go to the corner to play the lotteries at night without worrying of someone mugging them, and everybody knew who they are.
What?
Now, I have 200 men just hanging out on the park bench on Hall Street and Park Avenue.
Walking back and forth.
On Merlin Hall Street, we have about another 50.
Yeah.
Okay, on the corner. Then you have across the street, the benches that are there in front of TD Bank.
Bank. Where I go to.
They hang out.
Yeah.
The Bottle Redemption that's on the side of TD Bank, they put chairs up there in the daytime. Somebody got murdered over there a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Emerson.
Shot right in the head.
Down the block.
So, again, how do we tackle this?
Yeah.
You can't keep telling me,
Mhm.
and I heard this, have your legislators and your representatives go to Washington and fight this battle. Okay, but you knew it was going to come here.
Yeah.
So what did you do to try to prevent it?
Nothing.
They still dropped the shelter right in the middle of Clinton Hill, but you can't do that in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it okay to put all these people in one room? It's unsanitary, it's unsafe,
Yeah.
they're on top of each other.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
They just, basically, listen, they basically doing it in the hood, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Harlem, Brooklyn, Brownsville, Clinton Hills, Fort Greene, they dropping all these shelters in the hood. They're not doing it in affluent neighborhoods. They're not doing it in LI at all. You understand what I'm saying? LI got the executives, which is they like the mayors, and they're not working there. Adams was trying to send them to LI, upstate. They're not having that. You understand what I'm saying? The executives in Long Island are not having that. They of equal to as if they are mayors. So they're not having that. So the shelters, we're gonna see all these shelters come in the hood. And that's what's going on. They're putting them in the middle of a residential neighborhood where the crime is going to go up. It's crime infested. And, guess it's money for the government, man. That's what's going on.
And I believe you're right when it comes to money for the government. Because I think these countries that are
It's always a
allowing
payday.
these people just to flee and vacate where they once lived.
Yeah.
And I think the numbers game. If you allow 200 of my individuals into your country,
Yeah. What's the kickback?
we'll work down on the intel of it when it comes down to
What?
whatever as a value to you that we can provide to you.
Mm-hmm.
At the expense of those who live there.
Exactly. For years.
Now, the people who've been in the shelter, I think the number before this happened was maybe 30,000, 35,000 people. We live in a shelter, you have a requirement to fulfill to get out. And because I'll be the first to say it, and I'm not shy, the New York people who live in the shelters are very comfortable.
Yeah.
They don't want to get out of the shelter system. They have plenty of opportunity to get out of the system.
Yeah.
You're supposed to meet with your caseworker. You're supposed to file your paperwork. You're supposed to do all the things to get you in a position to get out the shelter and get your apartment. Now, 210,000 people compared to 35,000, it's a significant difference.
Yeah.
And they're building up all these buildings and apartment high rises, which 20% have to be allocated for low income housing.
Low income houses. Yep.
Which they relocate these people from the shelter system to these locations, right? That's not happening anymore. So now you got these people running amok, and I see it all day long, up and down my block with these suitcases. They're stealing people packages off the steps. They're defecating in people's doorways. You understand me? And, one of my neighbors was attacked. In the park. Well, the guy chased him in the park. Bust their head wide open with a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So something drastic has to happen before we get the attention of help that we need. They got to do better with this. And right now, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Election time is coming up.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Give an answer. Tell us something that is something that we can say, you know what? Maybe we'll give him another shot. And I'm be honest, it's bigger than him, but you opened up the floodgates with a comment. And I think it's a politics game because now you got the red states versus the blue states, and let me send all these migrants to the blue states.
Of course.
Okay, we have all the black mayors and governors or whatever case be running these states, and you send everybody here. They don't even get off the bus once they leave. Once they get caught at the border,
Yeah, they're straight here.
they go straight to the state, and they go from that state to New York State, New York City.
New York City, yeah, straight.
And that's why we try to put a curfew on it when we can accept these buses coming in. That stopped. We was getting people coming in at an abundance rate. Okay. It's out of control.
Family, who do you think is best that can deal with this? Democrats or Republicans? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
First of all,
Uh-oh.
you heard what Trump said he would do if he get reelected. He's gonna run he's around 1 million people.
He big mad.
Okay. I'm around them up. These are the terms he's speaking very crazy.
Yeah, he's big
I'm round
mad.
them all up and ship them out. Right? Wrong answer. Again, this company is built on migrants. But you got to do a better job of screening who you allow to process. You know, we can send them back and they have to do the proper process of getting, to want to get relocated to the States, the United States.
Yeah.
Okay? But you have to do better in the process. You just can't open up the door and say, we welcome everybody.
Can't do that.
Because as hard as you fight to keep the crime down, that was a battle we just lost. Because it's out of control right now.
Yeah.
And it's not even cold yet.
Oh,
That's true.
That strikes me as, it seems very clear to me that there needs to be a screening of criminal behavior. It isn't the migrants, it's those who are coming who have a history of crime. They should be easy enough to screen out, you would think.
Hasn't been done. Hasn't been done. And I don't know if they know how to do it. Because these individuals come with false names.
Yeah, they're coming from other countries.
They're not gonna tell you their full name if they're just been released from prison
Mhm.
and deported out of their country to get here. How we create a process to control that?
That's almost
Well,
impossible.
maybe instead of, I imagine that there are people all along the way whose palms are being greased.
Of course.
And so it needs to be, it's like you have to shut down the system of, the cartels that are bringing people in. The people, it's like if you were to compare it to Europe, they're all angry because they have people from North Africa taking boats into Europe. It's very similar to what's happening here, is that people are just being brought in. But the problem isn't just the migrants, is whose boat is it? Whose truck is it? Whose train is it? And very often the people who are coming are not poor, they're paying huge ransoms or something, whatever you call it, to get here.
That's correct. Catherine, let me ask you a question.
So this is a state-run criminal enterprise as far as I can tell.
That's the way of putting it.
Yeah, we talked about trust in the very beginning off camera. What does that mean to you in this whole scenario that we're going through? Trust.
I don't think trust has a relationship to what's going on right now. I think trust is non-existent in the context of these political issues. You might walk with a sense of trust in your capacity to defend yourself, to be observant, to not walk into a situation that could be dangerous. To me, that's where the trust is needed, for you to be able to really understand what's going on. So that requires a trust in self to some degree. Trust the system? No. Trust the candidates? No. I can't think of anything in the context of our political system that is trustworthy in the least. In
Well,
fact, it's predatory.
That's what I wanted you to elaborate on, and you're doing that now. So trust, that is a big issue for everybody. Trust.
It may be a big issue. If you desire to be in a situation where you can trust, then it might be an issue. You're gonna be hurt because you can't trust these people. But if you're in a situation where it's really clear that you can't trust any of this, then it's a useful tool. You know that none of this is real, that something is going on behind the scene, that's an exploitation. And I happen to think it's much bigger than we realize. It's like these political forums that sit around in back rooms and decide who's going to rule what country, whose government is going to be overthrown. I mean, there are people who are manipulating power. They're not people necessarily who've been elected, but they own the people who've been elected. So I'm just saying, I think we have a bigger problem than just worrying about all these immigrants, because the source of it is the people in power, in my opinion. It's not people trying to run away from their homes. People in power are, I feel that the situation has been designed to do this, to do what it's doing.
Right.
Destroy certain communities, destroy certain groups of people, create conflict between people. Because I think it's a smokescreen for, well, our economic system is collapsing. And I think it's a smokescreen, get us fighting each other, and the criminals get off with the cash to their little islands where they've stowed away their money. And the rest of us just fight it out. So, I'm ranting, but I think that part of the problem is what we've been doing in terms of electing people into positions on everything but what they are doing and what they are capable of doing.
That's correct.
Am I crazy just ranting?
Oh, I agree with you on the
Too
sense
much
because,
like,
you know,
I don't even know what to say after that.
no, she hit it on the head
did.
because it is bigger than what we
She
think.
touched on every basis, my sister. Every single basis she touched on.
Yeah, but where does it help?
Absolutely, she's absolutely 200% correct. She said everything. She's 200% correct.
Can't trust.
Yeah,
You can't trust you.
Yeah, because we
Who
have,
are we gonna trust?
it's true, because we have family out, we have families there, we
Yeah.
have children, we have grandchildren, and, you know, we're looking in that lane, because I have to protect them as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what am I trusting? What am I trusting with? Am I gonna trust someone that's they're gonna do the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is Kamala Harris gonna do the right thing? Is Trump gonna do the right thing? Because we have family out there. We have to go out there, like some of us alluded to, what's happening in our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, we elect these officials to run our government, right? And every chance we think we have someone in a position to do the right thing,
It goes sour.
they get drawn in. With the temptation, you know, to want to become rich, self-rich, I should say, because you're not helping the people who put you there. You're part of the problem. So we elect these individuals to do a job that our government is being run very poorly because no one is taking their job serious. And the ones who are, they won't be heard because they're outnumbered. You know, we have a few people make a little noise. It's not loud enough. Because why? Look where we are. History already repeats itself. And when history repeats itself, it comes back just in a different form. You know, at one point, she said she got conspiracy theorists. I'm like, honestly, thought it was going to be a civil war again.
Me too.
Why? Because the outcome is not going to be the same as the first one. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It's not going to be the way they think it's going to turn out. But they coming at it from a different angle, as she stated. How come we are allowing all this to happen? And who's gaining from it? Somebody pockets is staying fatter. Okay. And yes, we're going to end up fighting each other. And the criminals going to be running the country. You know, the people who probably are getting greased is going to stay greased. Okay. And we're not going to have a chance in hell to sustain this war. And it's not an army. It's not a war where you fight country against countries. We're going to be fighting among ourselves to survive.
Yeah.
Because we got people in place, our Republicans and Democrats. I've always had a problem with that. Why we have two parties
separate
to make two different groups of decisions when all are supposed to be for the people.
like an umbrella. Should be an
It
umbrella.
sounds like the Matrix, where the Matrix you have a red pill and a blue pill.
Pick the right one.
Yeah, pick the right.
Only none of them are the right one. What you're saying really resonates with me for sure. And I think, though, we have to, in some fashion, not become those people who would move into irrational behavior because of the problem. So, first of all, amongst all of the people who are coming now, the immigrants, there are lots of children. There are lots of women. There are lots of vulnerable people. And I think there's a level where whatever solution we come up with, I don't want those of us who are here looking at the problem to treat people with the lack of humanity. Those people who are allowing this to happen don't give a damn about anybody. And I think that we have to be careful not to fall into that trap. Because the truth of it is, those people who are causing problems can be identified.
Just not a want.
And, we heard a lot of talk about, after the whole George Floyd thing, defund the police. Then there was a resurgence of we need the police. So for the most part, they didn't get defunded. So let the police bring their little police cars into these neighborhoods and do their jobs. And I think it's important that we do rout out those people who are criminals or who are parts of cartels or who quite as kept could be part of the groupings that are paid by our own State Department every time we want to overthrow a government somewhere else in the world. I think probably 80% of the people coming here are leaving a country within which their authentic government has been overthrown, in my opinion. How many Central and South American countries have we overthrown? How many Middle Eastern countries have we killed their leaders? So I think there's a element of chickens coming home to roost. If we've destroyed 80% of the countries in the world, and those people end up on our doorstep, this country has a level of responsibility for why that's happening. And so I don't know what the answer truly is, except that we need professionals to clean up the crime. And we need to have a system that cares for all people, including the homeless that were here first.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's, I mean,
That's the big
trying
problem.
to divide who's the poorest and who's the most deserving is insane. And I just think those of us who are adults, semi-professional, retired, like I think all three of us are,
I wish I was.
I'm just saying that I think that we have to keep our wits about ourselves so that we don't be out there in the street carrying a pitchfork trying to go after somebody who ultimately would be an innocent victim.
That's true.
So I think it's a problem. The bums we need to kick out are the ones in City Hall,
You're right there. You're right.
in my opinion,
And then you have, well,
and in the White House.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a different story.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you hit something on the head. What we have to do. The question is, do they want to do it? We have
Okay.
the government.
Oh no, they don't.
They don't want.
They
So
not- they not
so
gonna
this
do
is
it.
going to be a
They never gonna do it.
issue of managing this country. And when they want to say, okay, let's pump the brakes right here, put these task force together
Uh-huh.
and go after these people who are bad,
Yeah.
who are, or whoever they came from.
Yeah.
We have to go back to that country, find out who these people are,
Mhm.
get them out of here, and move forward. They don't want to spend the money for the resources.
Of course not.
So they rather just bring everybody in,
Yeah.
and one at a time,
Take a look at it.
when something happens, they'll try to go after these individuals.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Never gonna work.
You create a crime, you go hiding, they won't find you, you come back out, you do it again. There was one
Or
gentleman
they could just go to a different state
that do the same thing.
and disappear there.
And so, again, we are in a position to, I believe, to tackle this the way we think it should be tackled. Create these task forces, and let's go handle this the right way. If you could count the number of 210,000 people you like in the country, that means you know exactly how many and who they are.
Uh-huh.
So why can't we just go to that sheet of paper with all those names on it,
Mm-hmm.
track them down one by one, and find out who they are, and if they're here in a right capacity of able to live here, then they have to also file documents. Okay, because I remember when people was trying to become citizens in New York City, they take a test,
You gotta take a test. You get the flag.
and that test was not easy to pass. So all those people who had to go through that red tape,
Yeah.
take a test, and pay to take that test,
Take a test.
now you're just going to say it's okay. Go with the floodgates.
And you got your little flag too.
And then you turn around and you have to look at,
Yeah.
okay, they know they dropped the ball.
Of course they do.
How long they gonna fumble that ball?
They gonna
Only they know.
because there's money coming to the country.
It's not just that, they're gonna keep fumbling the ball because to bring attention to it means they're gonna lose the election. And the priority is to have that power, to be in that seat of power, which is where all the money is being made for those politicians. So, yeah, it has to be something that's from the ground up, I suppose. I'm just advocating that it not be a violent uprising.
We hope it
against
don't lead
people.
to that.
And it becomes more a question of taking over City Hall, voting people out of office, whatever it takes. But I think, and maybe we just need to begin to really advocate to people who are coming into the country, so that there can be a level of education on their side as well. But, this is just not a basket full of goodies, which is what the American system teaches people. The land of milk and honey.
But it's ironic speaking about that. All the children who are here are in school. Every last one of them.
Mhm.
Every last one of the children that are here, between the ages of 5, and 17 are in school. Now, that means the public system went from, I can't remember the numbers of New York City public school kids, just added another probably 100,000 to the public school system. So right then and there, you have a tracking mechanism for the parents of who these people are. Okay, you have the people in place how to find out who they are, but they don't want to touch that. They leaving it right where it is, and they hoping it dies down to where, the issues that are taking place die down, and they can say, you know what, it's working out for us. Meaning, the people are constantly getting their pockets lining.
Well, I hope it does calm down. I do, because we're human on multiple sides of this question. And this country, the United States, does have a history of heinous behavior around immigrants. It's easy to say now, everybody's an immigrant. But when the Irish came in, they were treated like crap. The Italians came in, they were treated like
And they
crap.
forget
The
that, though.
Chinese
They
came
forget
in,
all of that, right?
they were treated like crap. So I just think that hopefully we can awaken our memories and come to a understanding of mutual humanity. That's my hope. Because I see it in the eyes of many of the people. They're not bad people. They're people who are desperate, some of them hopeful. And some of them just good business people because they're making lots of money. But they are people at the end of the day, and they're not our enemies. And I think we have to look at the problems that are real and go after those problems. And maybe it's not voting for a mayor who's so corporate and has given away everything to the real estate industry, the big money bucks. Why did we vote for him? Was it because he's black? I don't know. But he didn't have a track record before he got here. He's not got a good track record now. And I think we have to really look at candidates based on what they stand for and not who they claim to represent. Because truth is, there is no color in politics because they all represent themselves, in my opinion.
Well, I can honestly say, he's definitely gonna be a one-term mayor. And, we can talk about politics, the next segment of why we choose people we choose. He was a detective, first grade detective. He went from detective to borough president. He did a decent job as borough president for New York City. So, Brooklyn actually, borough president. So my thing is, well, I think his head, he got big headed because, everybody wants to show me, and you can be in the limelight, but sometimes you gotta be humble too, and not make it seem like you're bigger than life, because people will respect you if they think you have them in their best interests. And I see a change in my man. I really do. I don't know if it's stress, the pressure he's getting, but I see a change, and now he's definitely getting pressure from the government now coming after him. So now you have to realize you're not that guy that you think you are, because they don't accept you as being one of them. You made some decisions, I get it, but the choices you've made, you got your city in turmoil when it comes down to the choice you made. Now, I'm all for sheltering, but you have to spread this out.
Even.
You have 5 boroughs to do this with,
Mhm.
as well as Long Island and Staten Island. Staten Island only has 4 shelters that I know of, and we got them. You understand? Long Island protested, didn't happen. Okay, you even set up makeshift tents at Floyd Bennisfield. That was not suitable for anyone to live in. That was like one of those camps
Yeah.
that you have a jail. Those jails that are out Midwest,
Yeah.
those tent jails where they lived in, because that's what they were out there. It was tents,
Can't live in Florida.
and they was living in the tents. That didn't last long, by the way.
Too cold out there.
So my thing is the choices that are being made right now.
Yeah.
You know, are your hands tied? I don't know. Did you buy more than you could chew? I believe so. So now you can't fix this. So what you're doing is redirecting the conversation to, you guys need to go to Washington and fight. It's too late for that fight because the damage is already done. So how do you fix this?
Well, maybe it is that we can't just depend on one person or one politician to solve all these problems. I think part of the issue, because I remember during these elections, and I think that a lot of the candidates, no matter who they are, what community they come from, are to some level groomed into those positions. There's a level of the funding that it takes to get into office means that in order to get there, you have to sell out to some degree. And so I'm not saying, the reason I'm bringing that up is because to think the solution is to plop another guy in there isn't going to be a solution. The solution has to come from a different level of civic participation, I think. I think voting overall is a waste of time. I think we have to be in people's offices for those people who want to be active. And we have to pay attention to who's giving money to whom to know what they're going to do in office. So I don't know what the answer is, but I think it has to be a civic exchange.
I honestly think the mayor is a good dude. I think he bit off more than he can handle in this migration situation, because in reality, that's over here right now. That's on his plate. Prior to his personal issues he has to deal with, I haven't heard nothing really negative, as far as something of this magnitude coming targeted towards him. I think he did a decent job, but this is something that, I think he's not getting support, or it's out of control, where his support can't help. It's not going to support him. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And I think really that, he is starting to feel the heat, because his rhetoric and his tone has changed to where, it was about we as New Yorkers, we accept everyone. Now his conversation is that, well, did you go down to Washington to fight to stop this from happening? So your conversation is definitely shifted, and now you have a bigger fight personally to prove you're innocent or whatever charge the federal government trying to bring up on you.
Yeah. I remember the word that I was trying to think of before. Sanctuary city is what it's called.
Okay.
Now, New York City has been a sanctuary city for many decades. It's never been a problem to this degree. And as much as I don't particularly support or care for Eric Adams, I doubt that at whatever time he was boasting, he had any concept of the level of the problem. I would guess that he, at the level that the city mayors are, these decisions are made too far away from them for them to have initially understood the level of the problem. Even the southern states, I don't think they anticipated the magnitude of what it would be. through the border. So I think instead of fighting over it, as much as we need to elect new people, I think we need to put our heads together and figure it out.
I agree with you on that.
And try to find a way to help everyone survive. I mean, just if we can get a bill passed that there's no preferential treatment. If you're in poverty, you get helped, whether you're an immigrant or whether you're an American.
That's right.
And just as a side note, I want everyone to understand what we're seeing happening now is very traditionally American. So when people immigrate here, they get big deals.
Yep.
They get a lot of assistance.
Yeah.
Whether it's from Europe or from an African continent or it's from someplace in Central and South America. If you're one of the preferred immigrants, you get preferential treatment. It's always been that way. It's just that the magnitude is so big now, it's hard to ignore.
That's true.
Are we done?
H. I saw the article that you sent. It was really powerful. Why don't you talk about the article that you read?
Which one? The migrant article.
Yes.
Yeah, it's So this article about how us as taxpayers, New York City, hardworking men and women, we have spent $5 million in taxes supporting the migrants. It was on front page or the back page of the Daily News the other day. How is that possible? Why is that possible? A hard-earned taxes going to the migrants that's coming here to Brooklyn, to the Bronx, to New York City, Upper Manhattan, committing crimes, okay? Committing a lot of crimes. Crimes is up. And we spending $5 million as hard taxpayers. It's ridiculous to me. I saw that, I was upset. You know, when we have a bad homeless population going on right now, migrants coming down here, you know, they taking the homeless shelters out from our own homeless people that are here. And us as taxpayers, some people don't even got jobs. So how is it $5 million that we're spending on migrants? Something got to be done.
Well, I agree with you, but I think the thing to consider is what were we doing for our homeless population before the migrants got here? Nothing really.
Got you.
So all I'm saying is, are we gonna blame the homeless because they don't have help? They don't have that kind of power and control.
Okay.
So I think as those of us who have the wherewithal of being citizens and being able to do our own lobbying and stuff, I'm just saying that the migrants is not where the problem starts.
Of course not.
And if we don't begin to understand more deeply how we got into this fix and try to change that, nothing will stop. The migrant people will still be pouring in here. Americans are going to be priced out eventually of everything that we have. And then we're going to cycle back through the homeless system. I mean, I was listening to a woman talk. I mean, she's like in her 50s and she's about to become homeless because she lost her job. She can't afford her home. Now she can't get an apartment. I'm just saying that the problems run so deep that we should consider that what we're seeing in the migrant crisis is being put in our face, created as a distraction from the fact that these multinational companies are taking all the wealth. So maybe we need to start looking at the real estate in New York and say, no, you can't have all these breaks.
Okay.
Maybe we need to start looking at things that are going on that are creating problems so that everybody can have a decent way of living. Whether you're an original descendant from within the country, whether you're an immigrant for many years, whether it's a new immigrant.
And I think
I
that,
think we have to find the strength to fix the problem from the ground up and not be drawn into bashing each other because we're fighting over the same resources.
and I wanna, tap into that as well. I think that we have to also tap into each other or tap into oneself to find the answers, because if the answers are not outside of us, it's within us. And once we dive into trying to figure this out, we can figure it out through within us as a community, as a tribe, as a people who are fair, as a people that are cognizant of what's really happening in our great city, in our great America, I should say. So we have to dive in. And with that word trust, we have to trust that's within us, the God that's within us. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody here. Community Cuts, thank you. Every Friday at 7 o'clock, we're here at 732 Washington Avenue, Salon Leaking. Come on down and join the conversation. Share your comments. Please subscribe, and please share with your community, because we are community-based. Community Cuts, Brooklyn, New York. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did I
Thank you.
talk
Good
too
night.
much? Do I
Well,
talk too much?
very good topic to talk
I
about.
talk too much. I worry you too much.
I wanted to touch base real quick, but was here in New York
We're up there.
before the migrants.
Are we up
We
here?